Nigeria's national anthem, for anyone who doesn't know. Granted, at least 50% of our followers on this page are in West African Lagos, to be specific. A good portion of you guys are. So I know that you know what's going on in Nigeria right now. I know that you're crying over it, that you're heartbroken, that you are traumatized by what just happened in Nigeria this evening. We see protests all over the world, and you know, yes, I'm biased. I'm Nigerian, born and bred. Even though they brought me up out in the world, I will always be a Yoruba girl in my heart for life, for 1,000 lifetimes. So what happens in Nigeria matters very much to me. And to see those videos of young people being murdered by a government that they trust to protect them, because nobody taught them the history to know that that government is not for them. That government does not serve them. That government is a proxy to the colonial powers that remain very much in control of the country. If you haven't seen what's been happening in Nigeria, you need to go and check Twitter. Don't pay attention to the major news outlets, because they're full of shit, as there always have been, because their money comes from advertisements, so they don't report on the truth. So go to Twitter, go to Instagram, go to DJ Switch's Instagram page, and see how young people who want nothing more than to not be robbed in broad daylight by the people who claim to protect them were gunned down in cold blood. I am biased because I'm Nigerian. I'm not going to be thinking about anything else for the next, I don't know how long. And the unfortunate part is that anybody who knew the history of this country knew that this would happen. The problem is that most of them think this is the end. Our parents' generation has made the mistake of thinking that we're going to back down, that people are going to go home because you shot them, but they would rather die than live in a country that does not allow them to breathe. I am so proud, so proud, so proud, fists up to every single person who marched on the streets of Lagos, who marched all over Nigeria, who marched all over the world. That level of solidarity, I don't know if it's been seen before. So big ups to all of us who have been supporting Nigeria. I'm going to just read you a few of the headlines just in case you are unaware of what's happening. And I get my headlines from Twitter. If you're not on Twitter, if you're not following us yet on Twitter, our page is noirpress. I think we have an underscore after it. Our icon is a white diamond on a black background. Whew. And I also want to talk about what's happening in other African countries when I get to that. But I'm just going to read you a couple of the updates. So yesterday, we heard reports of, armed thugs going into the protests, right? We heard about prisoners being released in Benin, and these are just signals from the government. You saw Nigerian politicians going out in public and saying that, these youth are destabilizing the country, that they are a threat to national security. These are all warning signs. These are all signals to let us know we are about to come and kill you if you don't get off the streets. because these armed thugs didn't wake up out of nowhere and show up and start agitating and disrupting the protests. They were paid. They were paid with blood money. Money that these politicians already stole from Nigerians 1,000 times over, they're now recycling to kill us. So if you know the history, then you know that these people in positions of power in the government of Nigeria are not governing. They're not governing. They're holding us hostage. It's a land contract between them and the multinational corporations that they serve, making sure that those people continue to have access to the resources on our land at the lowest possible price. That's it. Nigeria is still a corporation. It always has been, and until we overthrow the status quo, it will continue to be a corporation serving the interests of the colonial powers who pillaged and raped our motherland for the last 400 years. Some statistics say 60% of Black folk in the West, in America, North America, come from Nigeria. The vast majority of people brought over across the ocean came from that Bight of Benin, that West Africa area. So y'all all got a great grandmother who was Nigerian. Every last one of you, if you Black. Especially in the Western Hemisphere. But even bigger than that, we're all connected as African people. We come from one source. We have one history. And they've been trying to destroy us because of the wealth that we just naturally radiate. Africa is the richest continent on this planet. West Africa, South Africa, you guys already know. So I just want to see organization. I want to see strategy. We need strategy, guys, because we can't keep being murdered in the street like dogs like this. What is more important than coming up with a strategy, 100-year plan right now? If you are from Namibia, if you're from Congo, Ivory Coast, South Africa, if you know what's going on in these countries, please drop something in the chat. If you have links, resources, I'm going to share some of what I know, but it's been really hard to find true, undoctored facts. It's been really hard to find, just pure truth. Everything has to be filtered by some white man, whether it's the owner of Twitter or the owner of Facebook or the people who run Google. All the information is being filtered through the very sources of violence. How do we get our own information? Go directly to the source. So as whack as Twitter can be, I'm super grateful that I am able to see what live tweeting is coming out of Nigeria on the ground in the moment. And so you've seen the videos. And if you haven't, go to our Twitter page. I've retweeted a lot of them. The videos of the Nigerian army opening fire on not only peaceful protesters, these people are the future of the country. These people are the future of the country. Paystack? I'm sure you guys heard of Paystack. If you've paid for anything online in the last, 2 years, you probably at some point have used Stripe. They are probably, I got to pull up the stat, but they are the biggest, if not one of the biggest payment processors on the web. They just purchased a Nigerian company for $200 million. And I love you guys, Paystack. I respect you. I give you so much props, but I wish you had held on to it. Because now Stripe is going to own that data that you've been collecting for the last, 4 years? And they're not African. They're not Black. No matter what Their first priority will never be to preserve and to protect and to nourish and help Black people flourish. That will never be their first priority because that's not who they are. So we got to get organized. So shout out to the Feminist Coalition, shout out to Flutterwave, shout out to everybody who was paying for drones to fly over Lagos, shout out to the photographers who helped us see the beauty of this moment, the unity. Shout out to everybody who was documenting what happened in Nigeria live on the ground, because now they can never pretend it didn't happen. They can never rewrite this story because we have told it ourselves in real time. Do you see why we need our own media platforms for the revolution? How can we trust the very people who are stealing from us, pillaging and raping us to give us the information that we need? So when I talk about Portal X and the things that we're building at Noir Labs, I need y'all to get on board. I've been working on a newsletter. You're going to get one soon. If you're not on our mailing list right now, make sure you get on it because we're building our own shit. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care how many tears. I don't care how many days. I don't care how many years. We're building our own shit, and it's going to rival Facebook. It's going to rival Google. We need our own platforms. And the reason for NoirFest, the reason that we do this work through media and film is because it's about a re-education, re-indoctrination, reprogramming of our minds. We need new information. We need clarity. We need to know our history. There's a film on Netflix now called The Journey of an African Colony, I believe. It's about Nigeria. Let's watch that together. I'm willing to host a watch party on our NoirFest Netflix account. Let's watch it. Let's talk about it. We have to start by knowing our history because we're going to keep on repeating it otherwise. Anything, and I love to watch whatever I see about Nigerian history, anything that you see out there that's done by Nigerians, mind you. Other people might try and they might do an okay job, but the most important thing is for us to tell our stories. All right, so I think I've made my point. I'm not going to stay here too long. I just want to highlight what's happening in other parts of the world. What's been happening in Congo, and I've been talking about it for a long time. I'm not really active on social media. I do what I can, but I really hate being on Zuckerberg's platform. I'm just not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. I hate being on their shit, and I want us to have our own shit. So, So Congo, they've been everybody who has a phone. I'm guilty. You're guilty. You watching this on Facebook, that means you probably have coltan in your computer, right? We're all guilty. We need to build our own technology. We need to build our own computers. We need to build our own phones from minerals that do not cost human life. Millions of Congolese people dying so that we can have phones at a cheap price. That doesn't make no sense. There's nothing we need that badly. There's nothing we need that badly. These people do matter. Their lives matter. They are human. They are full humans, even though, white men, Western colonialism would have us believe that they're worthless. Because if they didn't think they were worthless, they wouldn't be killing these people at the rate that they have been for the last 50 years. The rate of death in the Black world, West Africa, Black America, don't get us started on police violence. And the KKK in Black America. So we need to organize. We need to come together globally as Black people. We need to unite one time, one end goal. Let's take back control of our destinies. Let's take back control of our destinies. And the only way we can do that is with a 100-year plan, a strategy, coming together. And yes, I know a lot of people are doing this stuff behind the scenes, and that's great. And I'm grateful for everybody who's doing anything to push us forward. I'm grateful for anybody who's doing anything to push us forward. But I believe we need to do it out in the open. I believe we got to unite in the open. We got to hide in plain sight because the stuff that we'll do on a spiritual level, they'll never be able to access that. So there's always going to be things that we're going to be able to do in secret because we have superpowers. We have spiritual powers that nobody else has. And that's what our melanin is for. If we tap into the power of our melanin and we unite and we organize, nobody stands a chance. And we don't need violence. Yes, there's bloodshed tonight. And Some say that revolution, can only happen with bloodshed. I struggle with that because I just feel like we should be able to activate our technological tools and our spiritual tools to liberate ourselves right now. I don't think it has to come down to bloodshed, but I understand that these goats claiming to be governors and politicians in Nigeria, these goats, and that's even an insult to a goat because I love goat meat. The people who are pillaging and destroying Nigeria, they're willing to take lives because they don't see a Nigeria. They think Nigeria is a corporation that they own. They don't see the citizens. We ain't people to them. They don't care what happens to us. They just do whatever they got to do to keep us from, revolting, like what's happened in the last 10 days. So 10, 10, 20. No, 10, 20, 20. This day will go down in history as the day the Nigerian government opened fire on innocent citizens protesting peacefully for a new and reformed Nigeria. So I mentioned what's happening in the Congo, in Namibia, in South Africa, rape. They rape women in South Africa and in Namibia like they playing cards. A Black woman's body in these places is absolutely disposable to these governments and to these men. That's why Black women, we need to come together. We need to organize. We need to tap into our spiritual feminine power urgently. The Black world depends on it. They're raping women like it's a joke in these places, and they're suppressing the protest. Of course, always the intimidation of protesters. Oh, that's Namibia. South Africa, there's so many things going on in South Africa. And, like I said, if you have the details, please drop them in the comments. Cameroon, there's violence against Anglophones, those who speak English, in the country. So there's been a lot of violence there. And I believe it's Cameroon as well, where they had the phone tax, and a lot of people have been, agitating about that. I'm looking at a tweet from Hijabista. Hi, shout out to you, Hijabista. Thank you for dropping this this tweet, and I'll drop this video on the tweet for you. So she talked about also child trafficking in Ivory Coast and Ghana. We're in a state of crisis, Black folk, across the globe. And if we can protest and we can march and we can get emotional and we can get upset and we can demand change, we can also make change. We need to stop asking the people who are killing us to stop killing us because they won't, because they don't have an incentive to. It's too easy for them. So we organize ourselves in such a way that they can't penetrate our technology, then we'll see liberation. So we need education, we need re-education, and that's why we're passionate about films. And I'm going to tell you before I jump off, noirpress is happening December 5th through 12th. We'll be showing radical Black films, gorgeous aspirational Black films that teach us about who we are and who we can be and what we must do to create our path forward to be liberated. That's the only option. We can't just cry and complain and moan anymore. We got to get organized. And there's so many examples of that in our history. And if you haven't yet, check out Amos Wilson's Blueprint for Black Power. I'm reading it currently. It's an expensive book. You can get it online, but I also have the PDF. So if you like a PDF, hit me up. But those are the kind of books we need to print, bring back into print, distribute widely, and lower the price so it's more accessible. Because it's one of those things. They hide the knowledge behind expensive things. I'm going to go now. I really had to come out here. I couldn't go to sleep without saying something about this, but it's a tragedy. And Black folk all over the world should be concerned about what's happening in Nigeria, what's happening across the continent, because Nigeria is our source, is our unity. That's our source of unity for those especially who are descendants of the enslaved. And if Nigeria can get it right with all the genius that that country has produced and is producing, then the whole Black world is good to go. And we can't stop fighting for the world that we desire. We can't accept. We can't accept this. We have to create something better. All right. I hope you guys will join me in my quest to create something better through Noir Labs, through noirpress, through noirpress. That you'll support everybody who's organizing in Nigeria. I'll do my best to continue to curate information about what's happening there, what's happening across the Black globe. If you'd like to support us in curating and in, amplifying these stories so that we can see everything that's happening across the Black globe in one place, I welcome your support. And stay connected. Drop a message in the chat or inbox us if you have thoughts. The fastest way to get a reply is probably emailing team@noirlabs.org. That's team@noirlabs.org. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Stay covered. Tap into your source and know that you have infinite, unquenchable power to create the world that we all desire. Take it easy.